Today, when opening the Akashics for a client of mine, I had a really good message that I felt was not only really big for her, but I felt would be big for so many of my followers. It was even really good and important for myself. It was a very big reminder because of things that have been going on with myself. And the message was, use the mind to attract what's in your heart. And it just correlated so much with the last message I received, which was your heart is your compass. Your heart is leading you to where you're meant to be. Your heart always leads you to where you're meant to be. And even if, let's say you're on the twin flame journey, and I know a lot of you are discovering that who you thought was your twin flame is actually just a catalyst. And I know there's content creators saying that just because you had a twin flame awakening or an awakening from somebody does not mean that that person is your twin flame. But that had to happen. So it doesn't mean that wasn't supposed to happen. That had to happen. Okay, kind of going off track here. But use the mind to attract what's in your heart. That was the message I got today. And I felt it really resonated with this verse that I saw from the Bible in Mark 11:24. When you pray, you should believe that you have already received what you ask for. And it's very true. And it's like manifesting. That is pretty much the law of manifesting. What do we do when we manifest? When we manifest, we are believing that it already exists, that it is already true. So it's the same thing. I used to think manifesting was wrong, and here I am seeing that it's in the Bible. Essentially, it's just worded differently. And I feel like this message is so important, not just to my client, not just to my followers, but it was very, very important, significant for me too, because I'll admit I have been battling that myself. You know, part of my ego death that I've had the last week or two lies around following my heart. And I'm always talking about listening to your heart, following your heart, but sometimes it's hard to practice what we preach. And it's hard when you are a teacher and you are a coach and you're saying so much stuff, but then you have all of these different opinions and projections from people, and it throws you off course. And so I then start to become, because of all this confusion, I start to become like that one guy from the meme on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's like looking at the graph and he's like, like he's got this look like, do you see what's going on? Like that is me trying to put everything together, not for the sake of validation for me, but so that I know that what I'm teaching is accurate for all of you. I have been like trying to understand everything that I'm going through, everything that I'm feeling. I've had dreams upon dreams that have been very symbolic, very significant to the twin flame journey. Something about a train and getting off one leg when everyone else is going this way and I'm going this way. And then I see this other content creator talking about how she had a similar vision about divine feminines going off on different trains. They're no longer going to be on the same train as their divine masculine. They're going to be finding divine, their soulmates or divine counterparts, or perhaps finding out that their twin flame was not their real twin flame, it was a catalyst, and they're going to be finding their real twin flame. Like there's so much going on. And so it is, like I said, it's a very, very confusing time. And for me, it's so important that I do know the answers, or I seek the answers. I try to put everything together because it's my job. It's my job. Although it can be very confusing, and I'm sure it can be overwhelming for some people, because I'm like reaching out to my most trusted friends, like, what do you think this means? But this is happening and this is happening. Da, 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 da. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta quiet the mind. This is why it's so important to unify the heart with the mind. Why it's very important to not listen to outside projection. Why is it so important to shift the mindset? It's so important to shift the mindset, unify the mind with the heart. The heart already knows what it wants, but the mind then gets scared because the ego starts projecting based on fear, based on past experiences, traumatic experiences, past life experiences even, and then experiences that it hears from your friends, from your peers, from social media, from your family members, from society. You have all of this conditioning trying to project onto you, making you a scatterbrain and being like, well, what does it all really mean? And so that's why it's so important to quiet the mind, to still the mind. And I know it's so hard because we want to try to figure it out, But that's why, as a divine feminine, and even if you are masculine, you have to balance the masculine and feminine and go within and start receiving the information and tune in to the heart. Because as soon as we tune into the heart and we quiet the mind, we know the answers. We know the answers. But the mind wants to know all the answers from everybody. Like, oh, wait, but what about this? And what about this? And, but this makes sense, but this makes sense. What do you feel in your body? That's what I always tap into, is as soon as somebody tells me something, I listen to my body. Does it resonate within my body and soul? Yes or no? If I feel repulsed by it, if I feel the ick, if I feel like I want to vomit, that's usually my indicator that that is a no-no. It may ring true, but does it ring true with me? Does it ring true with my body and soul? Okay? That is how I like to know my answer, is when somebody tells you something, even a reader might tell you, like the guides might tell you something just to test you to see if you know your truth, so you do not seek outside of you. This has happened to me before in readings where I know the answer, but then the reader is telling me something and I'm like, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't resonate. Because you know the truth. You already know the truth within. But now it's about unifying the mind with the heart. Just like the guide said today, use the mind to attract what's in your heart. And what does that mean? Shifting your mindset to a positive mindset and affirming that it is already done. Affirming that this is true. I know I'm going to achieve this. Like the law of attraction, the law of assumption is assuming you already have it. Believing you already have it. Just like in Mark 11:24, when you pray, you should believe that you have already received what you ask for. That is manifestation. Your mindset is then matching your heart. It's you saying, you know what? I know it's already done. It may not be in my physical reality, but you're not going to believe that. You're shifting your subconscious into saying, no, this is it. I know it because I feel it. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my core. And sometimes I know those feelings can be wrong. I know, but they're meant to be there for a reason. Those feelings may not be permanent. Those feelings, you may not feel them forever. Just like so many people are realizing that, oh shoot, my twin flame was not my twin flame. They were a catalyst. But you had to have those feelings to continue your awakening. That's okay. It doesn't mean that you were wrong. They were meant to be there to trigger your awakening. They were meant to be there to catalyze you into your growth. They were a spark. They ignited you. They were there. You were meant to have that growth. But maybe you're meant to then discover your true twin flame or your true essence, your true self. It's about having faith. What all of this comes down to is having faith and believing what is yours is already yours. What is in your heart is already yours. But the moment you start to doubt and you start to listen to your ego and you start to listen to the fear and the doubts and the worries and everybody outside of you except you, then you're going to keep wondering and being led astray. I get that. I am the queen of like wanting to share everything with my friends and be like, but oh my God, and I get so excited. It's not because I need validation, because I want to share. But then the moment you keep oversharing, everybody's going to keep projecting their ideas into you. And then it throws you off course. So this is why it's so important to remain in your truth, know your truth, and follow that truth.